Hello and welcome. Find a comfortable place to rest. Let the day gently fade away. We are going to take a quiet journey together. A journey not of miles, but of time. We will travel to the edge of the great wide ocean. Can you feel the soft sand beneath you? It is still warm from the departed sun. The world around you is growing quiet. The birds have sung their last songs for the day. The busy sounds of your world are now just a distant memory, carried away on the evening breeze. Let your body grow heavy, sinking into your bed, feeling safe and supported. There is nothing you need to do now, nowhere you need to be. Just be here with me by the water's edge, listening. The sky above us is a deep, velvety blanket. It is sprinkled with the first shy stars of the night. They twinkle like tiny, distant diamonds. A gentle moon is rising, casting a soft, silvery path across the water. This light is just for us. It illuminates the scene in a magical, gentle glow. It is not a harsh light, but a soft one, a light that encourages rest. Listen closely. Can you hear it? It is the sound of the ocean. The waves are washing onto the shore. They come in and then they go out. It is a slow, steady rhythm, a timeless lullaby sung by the earth itself. It is a sound that has comforted countless souls for countless ages. Allow this peaceful sound to wash over you. Let it cleanse your mind of any worries. Each wave that recedes takes with it a little bit of the day's tension. Feel it leaving your shoulders, your neck, your brow. The air here is clean and fresh. It carries the faint, salty scent of the sea. Breathe it in deeply. Fill your lungs with this pure, calming air. And as you breathe out, let go of everything else. Let your thoughts drift away like small boats heading out to a calm, moonlit sea. There is only the sound of the waves, the soft light of the moon, and the feeling of complete peace surrounding you as you settle in. We are about to begin a story. It is a story as old as the world itself. It is the story of the ocean. But this is not a story of loud crashes or dramatic storms. No, this is a quiet story, a gentle story. It is a story meant for sleep. It will unfold slowly, just like the tide. We will drift through its vast history, carried by the gentle currents of its narrative. So, close your eyes, if you haven't already. Let the world outside disappear. Let the ocean's soft music be the only thing you hear. We are standing at the beginning of a great and peaceful voyage into the deep past. The sound you hear, that gentle sigh of the waves, is the ocean's breath. It has been breathing like this for an unimaginable length of time, long before there were people to listen. Long before there were trees or flowers or even birds in the sky. The ocean was here. It was breathing in and breathing out. This rhythm is a deep and ancient pulse. It is the heartbeat of our planet. When you listen to it, you are connecting to something truly ancient, something vast and powerful, yet incredibly gentle and soothing. This rhythm connects all of time, from the very beginning until this very moment, right here as you lie resting. Imagine the sheer size of this great body of water. It covers most of our world. It is a world of its own, hidden beneath the surface. It is a realm of deep blues and mysterious greens. It stretches from one side of the earth to the other. It is so deep that mountains taller than any on land could hide within its abyss, their peaks never seeing the sun. This vastness can be comforting. It reminds us that our own worries and concerns are very small in comparison. They are like single grains of sand on an endless beach. The ocean holds it all, and it is not troubled. It simply continues its slow, rhythmic breathing, in and out. This great expanse is not empty. It is full of secrets and wonders. It is a library of time, and every drop of water holds a piece of a story. The ocean remembers the heat of ancient suns. It remembers the chill of ice ages. It has felt the brush of a dinosaur's tail and the paddle of the first human canoes. All of these memories are held within its depths. Tonight, we will not try to uncover all its secrets. That would be too much. Instead, we will simply float on its surface, letting it gently rock us as it whispers a few of its oldest tales. We will let its ancient wisdom soothe us into a state of deep and profound rest. Think of the ocean as a great sleeping giant. Its surface rises and falls with each slow breath. We are just resting upon it, safe and secure. The waves are not trying to tell us anything urgent. They are just murmuring. They are sharing the peace of the deep. They are sharing the calm of the abyss. As you listen, feel your own breath begin to match this ancient rhythm. A slow, deep breath in, and a long, gentle breath out. There is no need to force it. Just allow it to happen. Allow the ocean's timeless breath to become your own, guiding you further and further into a state of peaceful relaxation. Our journey tonight will be a gentle drift. We will travel back in time, but not in a jarring, sudden way. We will simply let the currents of our story carry us. We will float backwards through the ages, exploring the history of the ocean as if it were a calm and winding river. There will be no need for effort. You can just lie back and let the narrative unfold around you. Imagine yourself in a small, sturdy boat, lit by a soft lantern. The boat requires no steering. It knows the way. It will guide us through the mists of time to the very beginning, to the birth of the seas that now cradle you to sleep. We will begin our story in a time before time, when the earth was young and still forming. We will witness in our imagination the first drops of water gathering. We will see them collect in the low places of the world, forming the first puddles, then lakes, and finally a single magnificent global ocean. We will tell this story not with loud explosions and fire, but with the gentle imagery of steam and mist. We will picture the slow, patient process of cooling and condensing. It is a story of creation, told as a lullaby. A story of how our planet received its great blue heart, which has been beating ever since. From there, our little boat will drift forward. It will carry us into the ancient seas, teeming with the first simple forms of life. We will not dwell on battles or struggles for survival. Instead, we will gently observe. We will picture soft-bodied creatures like living jewels floating in the warm primordial waters. We will imagine the quiet, slow growth of the first reefs, building their intricate homes over thousands of years. It is a vision of a world that is slow, peaceful and full of a quiet budding wonder. We will see life beginning, not with a shout, but with a gentle, silent unfolding in the deep. And so we prepare for our voyage. Let your mind be open and your body be at rest. The story is ready to begin. The ocean's history is not just a series of facts and dates. It is a living, breathing narrative that connects us to the very fabric of our world. By listening to its story, we are listening to our own deepest origins. Let the gentle rocking of our imaginary boat soothe you. Let the soft light of our lantern keep you warm. Let our small boat drift further back now, beyond all familiar shores, beyond all known time. We are floating on a sea of stars, looking down upon a world that is yet to be born as we know it. This is the very young Earth, billions of years ago. It is a place of dramatic beauty, but it is a silent, dry world. There are no oceans to hear, no waves to watch. The landscape is a canvas of cooling rock, vast plains of dark basalt and towering volcanoes that silently pierce the thin, strange atmosphere. It is a world waiting for a soul, waiting for the life-giving touch of water. Imagine this place in your mind, not as a harsh or violent sphere, but as a sleeping giant, a quiet, rocky orb hanging in the velvet blackness of space, full of potential. The sun that shines upon this early Earth is younger and fainter than the one we know today. Its light casts long, soft shadows across the barren plains and deep craters. There is no blue sky, for there is no ocean to lend its colour. The air is a different mix of gases, a hazy veil that cloaks the planet. From our peaceful vantage point, we can see the slow, majestic dance of creation. Asteroids and comets, remnants from the birth of the solar system, drift through the darkness. They are like cosmic messengers, carrying secrets within their frozen hearts. The Earth below is patient. It has been cooling for millions of years, its fiery surface hardening into a crust, a protective shell over its molten core. It is a world in a state of quiet anticipation. In this profound silence, there is a sense of deep peace. There is no struggle, only the slow, inexorable laws of physics and chemistry at play. The planet turns slowly on its axis, each day and night lasting for an unknown span of time. The great mountains that exist are not yet worn by rain or wind. They are sharp and jagged, their peaks reaching for a sky that has never known a cloud. The deep basins, the future homes of our oceans, are just empty, dark depressions in the rock. They are like giant empty bowls waiting to be filled. As you rest, picture this quiet, dry and waiting world. Feel its profound stillness, a silence that precedes the first ever whisper of a wave. Let your mind absorb this image of a waterless world. It helps us appreciate the true miracle of the ocean. It was not always here. It was a gift that the Earth was yet to receive. This primordial planet, in all its stark and silent beauty, is the first chapter of our story. It is the blank page upon which the epic of the ocean will be written. There is no rush. We can linger here in this peaceful ancient time, floating in the quiet of space, watching the slow, patient unfolding of a planet's destiny. Feel the deep calm of this empty world. and let it draw you deeper into a state of rest as we wait for the first drops of water to arrive. Now let us watch closely as the cosmic ballet continues. From the far reaches of the solar system, icy travellers begin their long journey towards our young planet. These are the comets, great balls of ice, dust and frozen gases. They look like ethereal snowballs, trailing tails of silver light as they move through the blackness of space. Alongside them are asteroids, rocky bodies that also carry a surprising amount of frozen water within their porous structures. For millions of years, these celestial wanderers have been on a collision course with Earth. But we will not imagine this as a violent bombardment. Instead, let us picture it as a gentle cosmic delivery service, a slow and steady arrival of countless precious gifts. Each time one of these icy bodies reaches our world, it brings with it the building blocks of our oceans. As it enters the thin atmosphere, the friction causes it to heat up, turning its frozen treasure into vapour. Picture this not as a fiery explosion, but as a soft puff of steam, a misty cloud released into the sky. It is a cosmic sigh, releasing water that has been locked away in ice for billions of years. Millions upon millions of these arrivals occur, not all at once, but spread over an immense span of time. It is a delivery so slow, so patient, that you would not notice it if you were standing on the surface. It is like a gentle cosmic mist, slowly gathering in the heavens above the sleeping planet. But the stars were not the only source of this precious gift. The Earth itself held a secret deep within. As the planet formed, vast quantities of water were trapped within the very rocks and minerals that made up its mantle. This water was not liquid, but was chemically bound to the rock, hidden away in the planet's deep interior. As the young Earth's inner fires raged, this rock would melt, becoming magma. This molten rock, lighter than its surroundings, would slowly rise towards the surface. As it rose, the immense pressure was released, and the water hidden within the rock was set free. It turned into superheated steam, a powerful force waiting to emerge from below. So you see, the water came from two directions. It arrived from the heavens above, a gentle gift from the stars delivered by comets and asteroids, and it also came from the depths below, a hidden treasure released by the planet's own inner warmth. It was a perfect conspiracy of creation, one source providing the ingredients from the outside, the other unlocking them from within. Both processes were incredibly slow, taking place over eons. It was a patient gathering, a gradual accumulation of potential. The stage was being set. The atmosphere was slowly, imperceptibly becoming more humid, filled with the promise of rain that had never fallen before. For millions of years, the water vapour gathered. It rose from the planet's steaming volcanoes and drifted down from the cosmic arrivals. It formed a thick, dense blanket of clouds, unlike any we know today. This blanket wrapped the entire planet in a warm, humid embrace. The sun's gentle light could barely penetrate this global veil of mist. The world below remained in a perpetual warm twilight. The atmosphere grew heavier and heavier, saturated with moisture. It was holding its breath, building pressure. reaching a point where it could hold no more. The air itself was becoming an ocean of vapour, waiting for the right moment to be born into its liquid form. And then the time came. As the surface of the earth continued its slow, patient cooling, it finally reached a magical temperature. It was the point at which steam could once again become liquid water. And so it began to rain. But this was not a gentle shower or a passing storm. This was a rain that lasted for centuries, perhaps for thousands of years. It was a great planet-wide deluge. Imagine the first drop of rain falling, sizzling on the warm rock. Then another and another. Soon it is a steady downpour, everywhere, all at once. The sound is not a roar, but a constant soothing hiss, the sound of a world being quenched of its ancient thirst. The water fell from the sky and began to flow across the barren land. It followed the paths of least resistance, carving the first ever riverbeds in the soft volcanic dust and rock. Tiny streams joined together to form larger rivers, all flowing downhill, pulled by gravity towards the lowest points on the planet. These were the Great Basins, the vast empty depressions we pictured earlier. The water began to collect in them, forming the first puddles. These puddles grew into ponds, the ponds grew into lakes, and the lakes continued to expand, their shorelines creeping ever outwards. It was a slow and gentle filling, a patient baptism of a new world. Let the sound of this ancient unending rain fill your mind. It is a deeply calming sound, a sound of cleansing and creation. It is the sound of the ocean being born. Every drop that falls is a note in a planetary symphony. The water washes the volcanic dust from the air, making it clearer. It smooths the sharp edges of the new mountains, carrying tiny bits of rock and minerals with it on its journey to the basins. This is what would give the future oceans their saltiness. The rain is not just filling the world with water, it is shaping it, sculpting it, and giving it character. Feel the peace of this relentless life-giving rain as it falls and falls for an age beyond our comprehension. As the great, long rain continued to fall, the lakes in the vast basins grew and grew. They spread across the cratered lowlands, their waters rising higher with each passing century. Eventually, the waters of one great lake spilled over a low ridge of rock and flowed into the basin of its neighbour. The lakes began to merge. They joined together, one by one, like pieces of a giant liquid puzzle falling into place. The shorelines were in constant slow motion, redrawing the map of the world. What were once separate bodies of water were now becoming one. A single, connected and truly global ocean was beginning to take shape across the face of the planet. Imagine the dawn of a new day on this watery world. As the sun rises, its light now shines upon a surface that is no longer dark, dry rock, but a shimmering expanse of water. The thick clouds have begun to thin, and the sky is starting to show hints of a pale blue. The water is warm, heated by the geothermal energy from the planet's crust below. Gentle mists rise from its surface in the cool mornings. There are no great storms yet, no furious winds. The young ocean is a place of profound calm. It is a vast, warm and shallow sea dotted with the peaks of submerged volcanoes which now form the first islands. The world is no longer silent. It now has a voice. Listen in your mind to the first sounds of this new ocean. It is the gentle lapping of water against the shores of those volcanic islands. It is a soft, rhythmic, shushing sound, the very first wave. It is not a powerful crash, but a delicate whisper. It is the ocean learning to breathe. The water rises and falls in a slow, gentle pulse, not yet driven by a moon, but by the planet's own heat and rotation. It is a peaceful, primal rhythm. This is the sound that will become the lullaby we hear on the beach tonight. But here it is new, fresh, and being heard for the very first time by the silent rocks and the empty sky. It is the heartbeat of a living planet finally awakening. The water itself is becoming a rich and complex soup. As it flowed over the land for thousands of years, it dissolved minerals from the rocks. It gathered salts and iron and all the chemical ingredients that would one day be necessary for life. This primordial ocean is not just water. It is a chemical broth of immense potential. It is a cradle, gently rocking, holding within its warm embrace all the elements needed for the next, even more miraculous chapter of our planet's story. But for now, it is simply a vast, quiet, and beautiful sea, stretching to the horizon under a clearing sky. A world transformed, a world of water at peace. And so our journey through the ocean's birth comes to a gentle close. The great rain has finally subsided. The clouds have parted, revealing a blue sky over a blue planet. From our peaceful boat we can now look down upon a world that is familiar, yet ancient. It is a sphere of stunning blue, swirled with the white of clouds, a true water world. The oceans are vast, covering almost the entire surface of the globe. The continents as we know them have not yet formed. There are only chains of volcanic islands and perhaps a few small rocky landmasses. The dominant feature of our world, its defining characteristic, is now its magnificent global ocean. It is complete. This new ocean is not static. It is beginning to move. The heat from the planet's core and the energy from the young sun create gentle currents. Warm water from the equator begins a slow journey towards the poles, and cooler water begins to sink and travel back. These are the first infant ocean currents, the circulatory system of the planet beginning its work. They are slow, broad rivers within the ocean itself, distributing warmth and minerals across the globe. The ocean is becoming a dynamic system, a living part of the planet's climate. It breathes, it moves, it circulates, maintaining a gentle balance that will make the next steps of creation possible. The moon, our silent companion in the night sky, begins to exert its influence. Its gravitational pull, much stronger then as it was closer to the Earth, begins to tug on the vast expanse of water. This creates the first true tides. A slow, powerful and predictable rise and fall of the sea level along all the coastlines of the world. Imagine this rhythm, a deep, slow pulse beating twice a day. The water advances up the rocky shores of the islands and then recedes. This constant ebb and flow creates a unique environment at the water's edge, a zone between the land and the sea, where water and rock and air and sunlight all meet. It is in such a place that the miracle of life will find its first foothold. Let this image of the young, complete ocean be the one that carries you deeper into sleep. A vast, blue and peaceful world, bathed in the light of a gentle sun. Its waters are warm and rich with promise. Its currents are slowly beginning to stir, and its tides are beginning their timeless rhythm. The birth is over. The great blue heart of our planet is now beating steadily. It is a place of infinite calm and boundless potential. The story of water is complete, and the stage is now perfectly set for the story of life to begin. Rest now, floating on this peaceful primordial sea as its gentle newborn rhythms rock you into a deep and tranquil slumber. Our little boat now drifts away from the time of creation and into a new age. The great ocean is born, it is warm, and it is ready. For millions of years it has been a beautiful but empty stage. The water is a rich broth of chemicals, a primordial soup, just as we left it. The sun shines down, warming the surface. Lightning from the thinning clouds occasionally flashes across the sky, adding energy to the mix. Deep on the ocean floor, vents in the Earth's crust release heat and minerals from the planet's core. All the ingredients are present. Everything is waiting. And then, somewhere in this vast, quiet ocean, a miracle happens. The spark of life appears. We cannot know for sure how it began. It is one of the deepest and most gentle mysteries of our world. Perhaps in a sun-drenched shallow pool, or perhaps in the warm, dark depths near a volcanic vent, the simple chemicals began to join together. They formed more complex chains. They learned to copy themselves. It was not a sudden event. It was a slow, patient process of chemical poetry. The first life was not an animal or a plant. It was far, far simpler than that. It was just a tiny single cell, a microscopic bubble holding the magic of life within its delicate wall. It was the first living thing in the entire world, floating alone in the immense silent ocean. For an immense period of time, this was all the life that existed. Just these tiny single-celled beings. They floated aimlessly on the currents. They were too small to be seen, too simple to be heard. The ocean still appeared empty to the naked eye. But it was not. It was now alive. These first life forms were incredibly resilient. They spread throughout the global ocean, from the warm surface waters to the dark abyss. They took their energy from the chemicals dissolved in the water around them. They were the quiet, invisible pioneers of a living planet. Imagine them now, countless trillions of them drifting peacefully in the warm, ancient sea. A silent, secret bloom of life. Let your mind float with them in this peaceful, early ocean. There are no predators. There is no danger. There is only the slow, gentle process of life existing and continuing. These simple cells divide, making copies of themselves. One becomes two, two become four, and so on, in a slow, silent explosion of being. They are the great ancestors of every living thing that will ever be, including you. They are the first word in the long and beautiful story of life on Earth. Feel the profound peace of this time. An entire planet teeming with life that is completely silent, completely simple, and completely at peace with its world. Our journey continues, and our little boat drifts forward through a few 100 million years. The ocean is still home only to simple, single-celled life. But some of these tiny beings are about to change the world forever. A new kind of cell evolves. It learns a remarkable new trick. Instead of getting its energy from the chemicals in the water, it learns to get its energy directly from the sun. This is the birth of photosynthesis. These new cells, called cyanobacteria, are the planet's first tiny gardeners. They are a blue-green colour, and they begin to flourish in the sunlit upper layers of the ocean, where the light is plentiful. These cyanobacteria are still microscopic, but they grow in huge colonies. They form thick, slimy mats in the shallow coastal waters. Over many years, these mats trap and bind grains of sediment, and they grow upwards, layer by layer, towards the sunlight. These structures are called stromatolites. They are the first living things large enough to be seen. Imagine them in the calm, shallow waters. They look like strange, lumpy cushions or living rocks, dotting the primordial shorelines. They are the first evidence of life that you could reach out and touch. They are silent, slow-growing, and incredibly important. They are the quiet architects of our atmosphere. The new trick these cyanobacteria learned had a very important side effect. As they used sunlight for energy, they released a waste product. This waste product was oxygen. For the first time, free oxygen was being released into the ocean and the atmosphere. At first, this oxygen was absorbed by the iron dissolved in the seawater, which then rusted and settled on the ocean floor, forming vast layers of iron ore. But the tiny gardeners were relentless. They kept producing oxygen day after day for millions of years. Eventually, the ocean could not hold any more, and the oxygen began to bubble out, escaping into the air above. This process was incredibly slow, but it was the single most important change in our planet's history. These humble, microscopic cells were terraforming an entire world. They were creating the very air that future life would need to breathe. Let this thought soothe you. The immense and life-giving atmosphere we depend on was created by the quiet, patient work of the tiniest of living things over an almost unimaginable span of time. There was no rush, no frantic effort, just the slow, steady and peaceful work of countless tiny cells turning sunlight into life, and in doing so, preparing the world for all the wonders that were to come. Let us allow our boat to drift forward again, into a time when the ocean is changing. The waters are now rich with oxygen, thanks to our tiny gardeners. This new energy-rich environment allows for a new kind of evolution. Life could now become bigger and more complex. For over 1 billion years, life had been just single cells. But now these cells began to learn how to cooperate. They started to cling together, to form colonies, and eventually to become the first multicellular organisms. These were not yet animals as we might picture them. They were strange and wonderful creations, the first experiments of complex life. They are known as the Ediacaran fauna. Imagine a seabed about 600 million years ago. It is a soft, silty bottom, lit by the dim, filtered sunlight of the deep water. And on this seabed there are shapes that look like quilted air mattresses, or fronds like soft ferns rooted in the mud. There are disc-shaped creatures that lie flat on the sand. None of them have mouths, or guts, or teeth, or shells. They seem to absorb their nutrients directly from the water through their soft bodies. They are utterly still. They are like a garden of strange, fleshy plants. But they are, in fact, the world's first animals. They are simple, peaceful beings, living a quiet existence on the ocean floor. Among these stationary plant-like animals, something new is stirring. For the first time in the history of the world, life begins to move with purpose. We see the first faint trails left in the soft mud of the seabed. These were made by a creature, perhaps like a simple boneless slug, as it crawled slowly across the ocean floor. This is a monumental moment. Life is no longer just floating passively or sitting still. It is now exploring. It is now seeking. This first movement was not a chase or a hunt. It was likely just a slow, meandering search for richer patches of nutrients in the silt. It was a peaceful, gentle beginning to the story of animal behavior. Picture this slow, deliberate movement, the first trail ever made by a living creature. It is a thin, delicate groove in the mud, a temporary signature of a new kind of existence. The creature that made it, whose name we do not know, was a pioneer of locomotion. It was the first being to experience the world not as a fixed location, but as a landscape to be traversed. Feel the quiet wonder of this moment. After billions of years of stillness and passive drifting, an organism is now purposefully moving from one place to another. The ocean is no longer just a place to be, but a place to explore, ever so slowly. Our boat now drifts into one of the most magical chapters in the story of life, the Cambrian period. This was a time, around 540 million years ago, when life seemed to burst forth with creativity. In a relatively short span of time, geologically speaking, the oceans became filled with an astonishing diversity of new creatures. This is often called the Cambrian explosion, but let us not picture it as a loud bang. Instead, let us imagine it as a silent blossoming flower, a sudden, radiant unfolding of complexity and form in the quiet of the deep. The simple, soft-bodied creatures of the Ediacaran period gave way to a new cast of characters with new and wonderful features. The ocean now teems with strange and beautiful animals. Floating through the water are creatures like the Anomalocaris, a large, graceful swimmer with two strange arms at the front of its head and large, stalked eyes. It was perhaps the world's first large predator, but let us imagine it tonight as a majestic, curious giant, gliding slowly through the water, exploring its world. On the seafloor we see the trilobites. These are like ancient ornate woodlice, with intricate armoured shells divided into 3 lobes. They scuttled gently across the seabed, sifting through the mud for food. There were hundreds of different kinds, some smooth, some spiny, all of them part of this new world of complex life. Other, even stranger creatures inhabited these seas. There was a creature called hallucigenia, a tiny worm-like animal that walked on pairs of delicate, stilt-like spines with strange tentacles waving from its back. There was Wiwaxia, a creature covered in protective scales and long, sharp spines, looking like a small, armoured slug. These creatures seemed like beings from a fantasy world, but they were real. They were nature's first drafts, its first joyful experiments with the animal body plan. They were all living together in a complex, bustling ecosystem, the first of its kind. The silent gardens of the Ediacaran period had been replaced by a vibrant underwater city of gentle wonders. Let your mind swim in this ancient Cambrian sea. The water is clear and full of life. There is no noise, only the silent, graceful movements of these incredible animals. See the soft glow of bioluminescence from a passing jellyfish. Watch a trilobite curl up into a ball for protection. Feel the sense of wonder and endless possibility. This was a time of incredible innovation, when the templates for almost all animal life we know today were first laid down. It was not a violent struggle, but a creative outpouring, a celebration of what life could become. It was a beautiful, silent and intricate dance of evolution in the deep, warm waters of the ancient ocean. As we drift onwards from the Cambrian seas, life continues to diversify and build. The next great project of the ancient ocean is the construction of reefs. But these are not yet the colourful coral reefs we know today. The first great reef builders were simpler organisms. They were sponges and strange, extinct creatures called archaeocyathids. These were vase-shaped, filter-feeding animals, and they were the first creatures to build large, solid structures on the seabed. They grew in shallow, sunlit waters, creating complex three-dimensional habitats where none had existed before. They were the architects of the ocean's first cities. Imagine these early reefs. They are not bursting with bright colours, but are muted shades of grey, brown and pale green. They look like a strange forest of stone cups and porous branching sponges. The water around them is clear, and it is filled with small, swimming creatures. Trilobites and other early arthropods crawl among the intricate structures, seeking shelter and food. These reefs are oases of life, centres of biodiversity in the vastness of the sea. They are built slowly, generation after generation, each tiny animal adding its small, stony skeleton to the growing edifice. It is a process of immense patience, a collective effort over thousands of years. These reefs were silent places. The creatures that built them and lived among them had no voices. The only sounds were the gentle swish of the water currents moving through the reef's many openings, and perhaps the faint scraping of a creature grazing on the film of algae. It was a world of profound quiet and intricate beauty. The reef provided a new kind of stability. It was a fortress against the waves, a permanent anchor for life in the ever-shifting world of the ocean. It was a nursery for new species, a safe harbour where life could continue to experiment and evolve in new and wonderful ways. Let the image of this silent ancient reef bring you a sense of peace and stability. It represents the power of life to build, to create structure and permanence from the simple materials around it. It is a testament to the quiet, persistent and collective efforts of countless small beings working together. These first reefs were a critical step in the ocean's story, creating the complex ecosystems that would eventually lead to the vibrant reefs of our modern world. Rest now in the calm shelter of this primordial reef, feeling the safety and serenity of its stony, silent chambers as the gentle currents drift by. For hundreds of millions of years, the story of life has been an entirely aquatic one. The land has remained barren, empty and silent, just as it was when the first rains fell. But the ocean, now teeming with life, has been preparing the planet for its next great chapter. The atmosphere is now rich with oxygen, and high above this oxygen has formed a protective ozone layer. This layer shields the surface from the sun's harshest ultraviolet rays, which would have been lethal to any life trying to leave the safety of the water. The land is no longer a forbidden zone. It is now a new empty world waiting for pioneers. The first to venture out are the plants. They begin as simple green algae, growing in the shallowest parts of the coastal waters, in the intertidal zone where the new tides rise and fall. Here they are exposed to the air for a few hours each day. Slowly, over many generations, they adapt. They develop stronger structures to hold themselves up against gravity. They develop a waxy coating to keep from drying out. They learn to anchor themselves with primitive roots. These first land plants are like a green fringe, a soft carpet of moss and simple ferns, clinging to the damp edges of the continents. They are the vanguards of a green invasion. Following the plants, the animals begin their own journey. The first to crawl from the water are likely creatures similar to modern scorpions or millipedes, arthropods whose hard exoskeletons gave them support and protection from drying out. They find a world full of food in the form of the new land plants and free of predators. Soon after, the first vertebrates make their move. A type of lobe-finned fish whose sturdy fins had evolved for crawling along the bottom of shallow, swampy waters begins to use those same fins to pull itself onto the land. These were the first amphibians, creatures living a life between two worlds, the water and the land. This great migration from the sea was not a sudden exodus. It was a slow, tentative exploration of a new frontier, happening over millions of years. It was a quiet and momentous expansion of life's kingdom. The ocean, having been the cradle of life for billions of years, was now giving its children to the land. It was the ultimate act of creation, seeding a barren world with the abundance it had nurtured in its own deep, watery heart. As you drift now towards sleep, picture this peaceful transition. The greening of the continents, the first hesitant steps of an animal on dry ground. The ocean's story is expanding, its influence now reaching out to cover the entire planet in a blanket of life. Our gentle story now moves forward in time, leaving the ancient world of primal creatures far behind. We drift into an age that is much younger, yet still lost in the mists of the distant past. This is the age when humanity first turned its gaze towards the vast blue horizon of the ocean. For thousands of years, people had lived near the sea, gathering its gifts from the shoreline. But the open water remained a mystery, a great shimmering barrier. Then a profound and simple idea took root. A person could travel not just beside the water, but upon it. The first boats were born from this idea, simple vessels born of human ingenuity and a deep curiosity about what lay beyond the shore. Imagine a quiet lagoon, bathed in the soft light of a rising sun, thousands of years ago. A small group of early humans stands at the water's edge. They have worked patiently, using simple stone tools to hollow out a large log. This dugout canoe is their first masterpiece of marine engineering. It is not built for war or for conquest, but for exploration and sustenance. It is a vessel of peace, designed to glide quietly through the calm coastal waters. See them gently push their creation into the sea for the first time. It floats. It is stable. It is a key that can unlock the secrets of the nearby islands and the rich fishing grounds just offshore. This simple canoe is a promise of a new relationship between humanity and the sea. The first journeys were short and cautious. The sailors, our distant ancestors, would paddle out from the beach, their hearts a mix of excitement and reverence. They learned to read the gentle currents and the subtle shifts in the wind. They learned where the fish gathered and where hidden rocks lay just beneath the surface. The ocean was their teacher, and they were its devoted students. These voyages were not about speed or distance, but about a growing intimacy with the sea. The canoe allowed them to see their own home from a new perspective, to see the coastline as a bird might see it, and to feel the gentle rocking rhythm of the ocean's breath beneath them, connecting them to its ancient pulse in a new and profound way. Let your mind drift with these first mariners in their simple, sturdy canoes. The only sounds are the soft splash of their paddles dipping into the clear water, the call of a distant seabird, and the gentle lapping of waves against the wooden hull. They are not fighting the ocean. They are working with it, becoming a part of its serene landscape. This was the beginning of human exploration, not as an act of domination, but as an act of quiet curiosity and deep respect. It was a humble step, but it would change the course of human history forever, opening up the vast blue highways that connect the world's scattered lands. Now let our story carry us across the world to the largest ocean of all, the Great Pacific. Here, one of the most remarkable chapters of human exploration unfolded in silence and grace. A people known as the Polynesians began a voyage of discovery that would span thousands of miles of open water. They sailed in magnificent double-hulled canoes, great catamarans crafted from wood and lashed together with coconut fibre ropes. These were not just boats, they were floating islands, capable of carrying families, plants and animals across the vast, empty expanses of the sea. They were sailed not with complex instruments, but with an incredible deep knowledge passed down through generations. These master sailors were the silent navigators. They left behind no written records of their methods, only the legacy of their incredible journeys. They learned to read the ocean as a living map. They could feel the direction of the long rolling ocean swells, waves that travelled for thousands of miles and told them of distant storms or unseen islands. They watched the stars not as single points of light, but as a great celestial clock, noting which stars rose and set over islands they knew, and using them to hold a steady course through the black of night. Their canoes, with their distinctive crab-claw sails, moved almost silently, powered by the gentle trade winds that blew steadily across the tropics. Imagine being on one of these voyages. You are resting on the wooden deck, the canoe rising and falling with the gentle rhythmic swell of the deep ocean. The only sounds are the whisper of the wind in the sail and the soft creak of the ropes. The navigator sits quietly, observing everything. They watch the colour of the water, the patterns of the clouds that gather over distant land, and the flight paths of birds that must return to a nest before nightfall. It is a form of navigation that is a deep, meditative communion with nature. It is a science built of pure observation and an unwavering trust in the subtle signs the world provides to those who know how to listen. These peaceful voyages connected the scattered islands of the vast Pacific Triangle from Hawaii in the north to Easter Island in the east and New Zealand in the south. They were not voyages of conquest, but of settlement and connection. These sailors were guided by a desire to find new homes, new places to live in harmony with the sea. They carried with them the spirit of aloha, a philosophy of peace, love, and respect. As you rest, let the spirit of these silent navigators soothe you. Feel the gentle rocking of their canoe and the profound peace of being guided not by machines, but by the wisdom of the stars and the ancient language of the waves. Our story's current now carries us to a different time, to the great age of sail. Tall ships with billowing white canvases begin to cross every ocean on earth. Let us not think of the conflict or commerce that often drove these voyages. Instead, let us focus on the romance and the quiet beauty of a world powered by wind. Imagine a majestic three-masted ship, a bark or a clipper, far out at sea. It is a calm day, and the ship is moving slowly, pushed along by a gentle breeze. The great sails are full, like the lungs of a sleeping giant, catching the soft and steady breath of the ocean's atmosphere. The ship is a self-contained world, a small community of souls drifting between the blue of the sea and the blue of the sky. Life aboard these ships was governed by natural rhythms. The rising and setting of the sun, the turning of the tides, and the direction of the wind dictated the entire day. There was no engine to roar, no constant vibration from machinery. The primary sounds were the whispers and sighs of the wind playing through the complex web of rigging, the gentle creaking of the ship's wooden timbers as it flexed with the waves, and the soft rush of water along the hull. At night, on the open deck, the sailors were treated to a spectacle of stars more brilliant than any they could see on land, a canopy of diamonds untouched by the glow of city lights. It was a life of profound connection to the elements. Think of the long, quiet hours spent on watch. A lone sailor stands at the helm, their hands resting on the great wooden wheel, feeling the subtle movements of the ship as it responds to the rudder and the sea. They are not merely steering, they are in a constant, delicate conversation with the wind and the water. Another sailor might be high in the rigging, in the crow's nest, scanning the endless horizon for the first glimpse of land or a change in the weather. From this high perch, the world is a vast circle of water, and the ship is a tiny, brave vessel at its very centre. It is a vantage point that inspires a sense of both humility and awe. These long voyages were journeys into the unknown, filled with a sense of wonder. Sailors would see flying fish skittering across the waves like scattered jewels. They would witness the eerie glow of bioluminescent algae in the ship's wake at night, a magical, milky sea of cold fire. They might catch a glimpse of a great whale breaching in the distance, a moment of sublime and powerful grace. This was the gentle magic of the age of sail. It was a slower, quieter, more contemplative way of crossing the world, a time when humanity moved at the speed of wind, and the journey itself was as important as the destination. Let the peaceful creak and sway of this tall ship rock you gently into a deeper state of rest. While many explorers were venturing across the surface of the ocean, a few brave and curious souls began to wonder what lay in the world beneath the waves. Long before the invention of modern scuba gear, the first attempts to enter this hidden realm were made using a simple and ingenious device, the diving bell. Let us picture one of these early contraptions. It is a large, heavy, bell-shaped chamber, often made of wood and reinforced with iron bands. It is open at the bottom, and when it is lowered into the water, the air trapped inside keeps the water from flooding it completely. It is a small, dry and quiet pocket of air, a temporary sanctuary in the deep. Imagine being one of the first aquanauts, descending slowly into the sea within one of these bells. You are lowered from a ship on a thick rope or chain. As you sink beneath the surface, the world outside the bell's small windows transforms. The bright, noisy world of the air gives way to a silent, blue-green realm. The sunlight filters down from above, creating shifting patterns of light and shadow, like dancing spotlights in a great, liquid cathedral. The only sounds you hear are your own soft breathing, and the gentle lapping of the water against the air pocket just below your feet. It is a moment of profound peace and utter solitude, suspended between the surface and the seabed. The purpose of these early dives was often practical, for salvaging shipwrecks or for construction projects. But we can imagine the sense of pure wonder that must have filled these early divers. Through the thick glass of their viewing ports, they saw a world no human had ever seen before. They watched as curious fish, unafraid of this strange, slow-moving visitor, swam right up to the glass to peer inside. They saw seaweed swaying gracefully in the gentle currents, like the trees of a submerged forest. They looked down upon the seabed, a landscape of sand, rock and shell, an alien terrain that was part of their own planet. It was like visiting another world without ever leaving home. This experience inside the diving bell was a serene and contemplative one. The diver was a passive observer, a guest in a silent, fluid kingdom. There was no swimming or exertion, only watching and wondering. The air inside the bell would grow warm and stale, a reminder that this visit was only temporary, that they belonged to the world of air above. The slow ascent back to the surface would be a gentle return from a dream. Let your mind sink into the quiet, still and magical atmosphere of the diving bell, a small, safe bubble of peace, suspended in the cool, silent embrace of the deep ocean. As the age of sail reached its zenith, a new kind of exploration began to emerge. It was driven not just by the desire for trade or territory, but by pure scientific curiosity. The great naval powers of the time began to fund voyages whose primary mission was to observe, to measure, and to understand the natural world. These were the first true scientific expeditions, and they treated the ocean not as an obstacle to be crossed, but as a subject to be studied. These ships were converted into floating laboratories, carrying astronomers, botanists, geologists and marine biologists on long journeys to the most remote corners of the globe. One of the most famous of these journeys was the voyage of HMS Challenger, which set sail in the 1870s. This was not a swift or direct voyage. For nearly 4 years, the ship crisscrossed the world's oceans, methodically and patiently gathering information. Let us imagine a quiet day aboard the Challenger. The ship is stopped, its sails furled, drifting gently on a calm sea far from any land. The scientists are at work. They are lowering long ropes with weights on the end to sound the depths and create the first true maps of the ocean floor. They discovered vast plains, immense mountain ranges, and trenches deeper than anyone had ever imagined. The abyss was not a flat, featureless void. It was a landscape as varied and dramatic as any on land. The work was slow and painstaking. To collect samples from the deep, they would lower large dredges, heavy metal frames with nets attached. It could take many hours for the dredge to reach the bottom and be hauled back up again. The crew and scientists would wait with quiet anticipation. When the dredge finally emerged from the water, dripping with mud and strange creatures, it was like opening a treasure chest from another world. They found bizarre fish with their own built-in lights, delicate sea stars and glass sponges that looked like intricate sculptures. They discovered that life existed even in the coldest, darkest, most highly pressurized parts of the ocean. These voyages were filled with a sense of peaceful discovery. Their purpose was to expand human knowledge, to replace myth and superstition with observation and fact. The scientists aboard these ships were cataloguing the wonders of creation, drawing and describing the new species they found with meticulous care. They were reading the book of nature on a global scale. As you rest, absorb the calm, focused and patient atmosphere of these scientific voyages. They represent a beautiful partnership between human curiosity and the ocean's mysteries, a gentle quest for understanding that revealed our planet to be a far more complex and wonderful place than we had ever known. The final chapter of this early age of exploration was the quiet, patient work of charting the world. The grand voyages of discovery had revealed the outlines of the continents, but, the details were still a mystery. For decades, ships dedicated to hydrography and cartography sailed the seas, their mission to create accurate maps of the coastlines, islands, and safe passages of the world. This was not glamorous work. It was slow, repetitive, and required immense skill and concentration. These cartographers were the unsung heroes of exploration, turning the unknown into the known, one careful measurement at a time. Imagine a survey ship anchored in a calm, uncharted bay. The ship itself is a point of stillness in a new landscape. Small boats are sent out, with sailors methodically taking soundings, dropping a weighted line to measure the depth of the water. Another group is ashore, setting up a theodolite, a precise instrument for measuring angles. They carefully survey the headlands, the beaches, and the mouths of rivers, making detailed notes and sketches. The work is done in silence, with hand signals to ensure the measurements are precise. It is a slow and peaceful process of translating a three-dimensional landscape onto a two-dimensional piece of paper. The chart maker sits at a large table in the ship's cabin, lit by the soft light from a porthole or an oil lamp. With a steady hand, he transforms the raw data from the surveyors into a beautiful and functional map. He draws the delicate lines of the coast, adds the numbers of the soundings, and shades in the areas of shallow water. He marks the positions of hidden rocks and safe anchorages. Each line he draws is a piece of information that will keep future sailors safe. His work is an act of care, a gift of knowledge to those who will follow. The finished chart is more than a map. It is a story, a detailed and trustworthy narrative of a small piece of the ocean. Let your mind rest on this image of quiet, meticulous work. It represents the gentle and steady accumulation of knowledge. The age of human exploration was not just about grand adventures and discovering new continents. It was also about this slow, patient process of understanding and recording. It was about making the world a safer and more familiar place. The charts created in this era were a beautiful synthesis of science and art, a testament to the human desire to make sense of our world. As you drift off to sleep, let the feeling of safety and certainty from these beautiful hand-drawn charts fill your mind, a peaceful end to our journey through humanity's first encounters with the great wide ocean. Our journey now takes us from the age of sail and hand-drawn charts into a more recent time. We leave the surface world behind, the world lit by the sun and filled with air. We are going to sink gently into the ocean's depths, far beyond the reach of the early diving bells. We will travel in a modern submersible, a small, strong sphere with thick windows. Imagine yourself inside this peaceful vessel. It is quiet here, a sanctuary of calm. The descent begins, and you watch as the bright blue of the surface water slowly deepens, fading to a rich sapphire and then to a dark, velvety indigo. We are leaving the sunlit world behind and entering a realm of eternal twilight. This region, just below the sunlit zone, is known as the twilight zone, or the mesopelagic zone. It is a world of shadows and faint, shifting light. The pressure here is immense, but inside our little sphere we are safe and comfortable. The temperature of the water drops, becoming cool and constant. Life here is different, adapted to a world with very little light and no surfaces to rest upon. The creatures are sparse, and they move with a slow, deliberate grace that conserves energy. We are floating through a vast, three-dimensional space, a liquid inner sky that stretches for thousands of feet between the bright world above and the complete darkness below. As our eyes adjust to the dimness, we begin to see them. Strange and beautiful fish, perfectly suited to this shadowy existence. There are hatchetfish with silvery compressed bodies that make them almost invisible from below, and large upward-pointing eyes to catch the faintest glimmer of light from above. We might see the fang-toothed fish, which looks fearsome with its oversized teeth, but is actually quite small and slow-moving, a quiet lurker in the gloom. These creatures are not monsters. They are marvels of adaptation, living their lives in a slow, silent ballet that has been choreographed over millions of years of evolution in this unique and challenging environment. The overwhelming feeling in the twilight zone is one of profound peace and solitude. It is a vast, quiet space, a world in between. The frantic energy of the surface is a distant memory, and the crushing pressures of the abyss are still far below. Here there is only the gentle drift, the silent passing of its shy inhabitants, and the deep, calming blue that surrounds us on all sides. Let your mind sink into this peaceful, dim world. Feel the quiet of the deep water, the coolness, the stillness. Let it be a gentle weight, a comforting blanket that encourages your body and mind to let go and sink into a state of deep and restful calm. As our submersible continues its gentle descent, we leave the last vestiges of sunlight behind. We are now in the midnight zone, a world of absolute and eternal darkness. But this world is not silent. The ocean is a medium that carries sound for incredible distances. Scientists have learned to listen to the sea using sensitive underwater microphones called hydrophones. They have discovered that the deep ocean is a whispering gallery, a place filled with a rich and complex symphony of sounds. These are not loud or jarring noises, but the deep, resonant, and often mysterious voices of the ocean and its largest inhabitants. Let us imagine we can hear what the hydrophones hear. The most prominent sounds are the calls of great whales, echoing across hundreds, even thousands of miles of water. A blue whale produces a call so low and powerful that it is below the range of human hearing, but we can feel it as a deep, resonant vibration. A humpback whale sings a long, complex and hauntingly beautiful song made of moans, cries and chirps. a song that evolves over time and is shared by all the whales in a region. These are not random noises, they are communication. They are the social fabric of these magnificent intelligent creatures woven across the vast dark expanse of the ocean. But the whales are not the only musicians in this deep orchestra. We can also hear the clicks and whistles of dolphins, a form of echolocation they use to navigate and find food in the dark. It sounds like a rapid, intricate conversation. We can hear the soft, crackling sound of millions of tiny shrimp snapping their claws all at once, creating a constant, gentle static that is the background hum of the sea. There are also the sounds of the earth itself, the distant low rumble of an underwater earthquake, or the hiss of gas escaping from a deep-sea vent. It is a rich and ever-changing soundscape, a world that is abuzz with information for those who know how to listen. Let these deep, gentle sounds of the ocean fill your mind. They are the true sounds of our living planet. They are not the sounds of a busy human world, but the ancient, slow and powerful sounds of nature. The low moan of a whale travelling for an hour to cross a vast basin. The soft, crackling hiss of countless tiny lives. These sounds speak of immense scale, of slow rhythms, and of a world that operates on a time scale far greater than our own. Allow this deep, resonant symphony to be your lullaby, a sound that is both profoundly peaceful and deeply connected to the very heart of the living ocean. Our submersible now glides over the floor of the deep ocean, a vast, flat plain of soft sediment. The darkness is absolute. The pressure is crushing. The water is near freezing. It seems like a world where life could not possibly exist. But then our lights pick something up in the distance. A strange, shimmering haze in the water, and beyond it a series of tall, chimney-like structures. They are built from minerals deposited by the hot water, and they are spewing what looks like thick, black smoke. These are hydrothermal vents, places where superheated, mineral-rich water from beneath the Earth's crust erupts into the cold ocean. They are oases of warmth and chemical energy in the freezing desert of the abyss. As we draw closer, we see that these vents are not barren. They are teeming with life. They are underwater cities, bustling with creatures found nowhere else on Earth. The most striking are the giant tube worms. They stand in thick clusters around the vents, some of them 6 feet tall. They have no mouth and no gut. Instead, their bright red plumes, which look like strange flowers, absorb chemicals from the vent water. Inside their bodies, special bacteria live, turning these chemicals into energy. It is a beautiful partnership, a form of life that does not depend on the sun, but on the chemical energy from the Earth's own heart. Our lights reveal the other inhabitants of the strange city. Ghostly white crabs scuttle over the rocks, their eyes long since lost to evolution in this world of total darkness. Strange, pale fish and ghostly octopuses drift slowly through the warm, shimmering water. There are beds of mussels and clams, their shells filled with the same kind of life-giving bacteria as the tube worms. Every inch of space is occupied. This entire complex ecosystem is a silent, thriving metropolis, powered by the planet's inner fire. It is a discovery that completely changed our understanding of where and how life can exist. Let the image of this silent, vibrant city soothe you. It is a world completely independent from our own, a secret kingdom in the deep. It is a testament to the incredible tenacity and creativity of life, its ability to find a way in the most unlikely of places. There is no noise here, only the silent, graceful dance of the tube worms in the warm currents and the slow, deliberate movements of the crabs. It is a place of profound and alien beauty, a hidden garden in the planet's deepest basement. Feel the warmth and the gentle energy of this place, a secret, peaceful world that thrives in the eternal night. Let us now ascend from the depths and return to the upper layers of the ocean, where the water is warmer and the great marine mammals live. Modern science has given us a new, intimate window into the lives of these gentle giants. Using small, harmless tracking devices, scientists can now follow the epic journeys of whales, dolphins and turtles as they navigate the globe. These are not random wanderings. They are ancient, invisible paths, migratory routes that have been followed for thousands of generations, connecting feeding grounds in the cold, rich polar waters with breeding grounds in the warm, safe tropics. Imagine we are following a humpback whale on her long journey. She has spent the summer feeding in the nutrient-rich waters of Alaska. And now, as autumn approaches, she begins her slow, steady migration south to the warm lagoons of Hawaii, where she will give birth. She travels for thousands of miles, often without feeding. She moves with a slow, powerful grace, her enormous body gliding effortlessly through the water. She is guided by an internal compass, a sense of the Earth's magnetic field, and perhaps by the memory of the journey taught to her by her own mother. It is one of the longest and most peaceful migrations on our planet. When she reaches the warm, sheltered waters, she gives birth to her calf. We can picture the scene. The calf is born into the water and is immediately nudged to the surface by its mother for its first breath of air. For the next few months, the mother will devote herself entirely to her new baby. She will protect it, teach it, and feed it with her rich milk. We can imagine the quiet bond between them, the gentle nudges, the soft calls, the slow, synchronized swimming. There is a profound sense of peace and tenderness in this underwater nursery. It is a world of gentle instruction and powerful, silent love, far from the dangers of the open ocean. The songs of the male humpbacks fill these breeding grounds. Let us listen again to that complex, haunting music. It is not an aggressive sound, but a beautiful, melancholic, and intricate performance. Scientists are still working to understand the full meaning of these songs. Perhaps they are a way to attract a mate or to communicate with other males. Whatever their purpose, they transform the water into a vast, resonant concert hall. Let the peaceful image of the mother and calf and the soothing, deep vibrations of the whale's song carry you deeper into relaxation. It is the sound of a gentle, intelligent life, a life lived in harmony with the ocean's ancient rhythms. As night falls over the ocean, a magical transformation occurs. Our submersible can now turn off its bright lights, and we can witness one of the most widespread and beautiful phenomena on Earth: bioluminescence. This is the ability of living things to produce their own light. In the deep ocean, where no sunlight ever reaches, it is estimated that over 90% of the creatures have this ability. The darkness is not empty. It is filled with a constant, silent and breathtakingly beautiful light show. It is a language written in sparks, glows and shimmering clouds of cold fire. Imagine we are drifting in the midnight zone, in complete darkness. A creature swims by, and its passage disturbs tiny microscopic plankton, which flash in response, creating a glittering trail of blue-green sparks like a scattering of diamonds in the water. A jellyfish pulses slowly, its bell glowing with a soft ethereal light, first green, then blue, a silent, rhythmic beacon in the dark. A school of small fish, startled by our presence, flashes their lights all at once, a sudden brilliant strobe that momentarily illuminates the void before disappearing, leaving behind only the memory of their form. This living light serves many purposes. For some, it is a lure to attract prey, like the anglerfish with its famous fleshy rod that dangles a glowing orb in front of its mouth, a hypnotic invitation in the dark. For others, it is a form of defense. A deep-sea shrimp, when threatened, can spew a bright cloud of glowing liquid, temporarily blinding and confusing a predator while it makes its escape. For many, the patterns of lights on their bodies are like name tags, a way to recognize members of their own species for mating in the vast, dark expanse. It is a complex and silent form of communication, a visual symphony in a world without sound or sunlight. Let your mind be mesmerized by this silent, magical display. It is nature's own fireworks, a show of gentle, cool light that asks for nothing but our quiet wonder. Each flash, each glow, each shimmering cloud is a tiny spark of life, announcing its presence in the vastness of the deep. It is a reminder that even in the darkest, most mysterious places on our planet, there is an abundance of beauty and life. Allow these soft, gentle patterns of light to dance in your mind's eye, a peaceful, mesmerizing display to guide you into the deep and restful darkness of sleep. Our final modern discovery takes us back to a view of the whole planet. Using satellites and sophisticated buoys, scientists have been able to map the ocean's currents with incredible precision. They've revealed that the ocean is not a static body of water, but is actually filled with immense, flowing rivers. These are not rivers of water flowing through land, but rivers of water flowing through water. The most important of these is the Great Ocean Conveyor Belt, a massive, slow-moving current that connects all the world's oceans in a single continuous loop. It is the planet's circulatory system, and its journey takes almost 1,000 years to complete. Let us follow this great, unseen river. It begins in the cold North Atlantic, where the water is dense and salty. As this water cools, it becomes heavier and sinks deep into the abyss. This sinking water then begins a slow, majestic journey south, a deep, cold river flowing along the ocean floor. It travels past the equator, around the tip of Africa, and into the vast Indian and Pacific Oceans. It is a silent, invisible flow, a massive transfer of energy that shapes the climate of the entire world. It carries oxygen from the surface down to the deep sea, allowing life to thrive in the abyss. As this deep river flows through the Pacific, it gradually begins to warm and rise back towards the surface. Now it is a warm surface current, and it begins its long journey back to the Atlantic. It flows through the Indonesian islands, across the Indian Ocean, and up the coast of Africa. It becomes the Gulf Stream, a powerful warm river that brings incredible warmth to northern Europe, making its climate far milder than it would otherwise be. This great looping river is a planetary thermostat, a gentle and slow-moving force that balances the temperatures of our world, taking warmth from the equator and delivering it towards the poles. Let the thought of this immense, slow and cyclical journey bring you a sense of deep calm and connection. It is a rhythm that is so vast and so slow that it is almost beyond our human comprehension. It is a force of perfect balance, a quiet planetary breathing that has been happening for millions of years. It connects all the oceans, all the continents, and all the climates into one single, interconnected system. As you rest now, feel yourself as part of this great global flow. Feel the gentle, steady, and endless rhythm of the ocean's great heart as it slowly, peacefully, and tirelessly circulates the lifeblood of our beautiful blue planet. Our small boat, which has carried us so faithfully through the vast ages of the ocean's story, now drifts gently back to its starting point. We have travelled from a world without water, a silent, rocky sphere, to the vibrant, living seas of today. We have witnessed the first rains, the birth of the first simple life, the silent blossoming of the Cambrian seas, and the quiet footsteps of humanity learning to walk upon the water. We have descended into the twilight zone and listened to the songs of whales in the deep. Now our journey through time is complete. Our boat comes to rest on the soft moonlit sand of the present moment, right here, right now, where our story began. The sounds are the same as when we left. Listen. It is the gentle, rhythmic sigh of the waves washing onto the shore. It is the same timeless lullaby that has been the soundtrack to our entire journey. But perhaps it sounds a little different to you now. Perhaps you can hear more within its simple rhythm. You can hear the echo of the first great deluge, the lapping of water against the first volcanic islands, and the patient ebb and flow that coaxed life onto the land. This sound is no longer just the sound of water. It is the sound of history. It is the voice of time itself, whispering its long, slow, peaceful story to you as you lie here, resting comfortably. Feel the soft night air on your skin. It is filled with oxygen, a gift from those first tiny gardeners, the cyanobacteria who patiently filled our world with breathable air over billions of years. Your own body is warm, a small, gentle furnace of life, a distant echo of the warmth from those first hydrothermal vents that proved life could thrive even without the sun. You are a living, breathing part of this long story. The history of the ocean is not something separate from you. It is the history of the world that made you, the history of the air you breathe, and the history of the very water that makes up most of your own being. Let this feeling of connection bring you a deep and profound sense of peace. You are not just resting on a bed in a room. You are resting on the shore of a living, breathing planet, cradled by its history, soothed by its ancient rhythms. All the vastness of time and space, all the quiet miracles of creation and evolution have led to this single, peaceful moment. The moment of you, here, now, safe and sound, letting go of the day. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to see. The journey is over. All that is left is to rest, to float, and to drift. As you lie here on the edge of sleep, let the vastness of the ocean story become a comforting blanket. We have journeyed through its immense history, but we have only dipped our toes into its mysteries. The ocean remains a world of secrets, a place of endless wonder. Even now, in our modern age, we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the floor of our own deep seas. This is not a cause for anxiety, but for a gentle sense of awe. It means our world still holds magic. It means there are still quiet, undiscovered gardens in the abyss, still silent symphonies of bioluminescence that no human eye has ever seen. Think of the ocean as a great sleeping mind. Its surface with the gentle waves is its conscious breath, the part we can see and hear. But its depths, the vast, dark, quiet zones, are its subconscious. This is where the old memories are stored. The memory of the first cell, the echo of a trilobite scuttling on the Cambrian sea floor, the ghost of a Polynesian canoe gliding under the stars. All these stories, all this history are held in the silent, cold stillness of the deep. It is a place of profound peace, a place where time moves differently, slowly, and with immense, unhurried grace. This deep, quiet place is not something to be feared. It is the foundation of our world. Its slow, steady currents, the great ocean conveyor belt, regulate our planet's climate with a patience that is beyond our comprehension. The life in its depths, thriving on chemistry and pressure, reminds us that life is more resilient and more creative than we can possibly imagine. The ocean's deepness is a source of stability, a great calm anchor in a world that can sometimes feel chaotic. By simply existing, it balances our world, and its quiet, hidden processes are a constant, gentle force for stability and continuity. Let your own mind sink into this peaceful, deep state. Allow your thoughts to slow down, to become as unhurried as the deep ocean currents. Let the worries of the day dissolve into the vast, dark quiet, like a drop of rain falling into the sea. There is a deep, silent, and peaceful place within you, just as there is in the ocean. This is the place where true rest is found. It is a place beyond words and thoughts, a place of pure being. Let the echo of the deep ocean guide you to that quiet inner sanctuary now, as you drift further and further down into sleep. It is a simple and beautiful fact that we all carry the ocean within us. The water in our cells has a saltiness, a chemical composition that is remarkably similar to the water of the ancient seas where the first life began. We are, in a very real sense, a small, personal ocean. a walking, breathing vessel of the same life-giving fluid that covers our world. When you feel your own pulse, that gentle, rhythmic beat, you can think of it as your own personal tide, the ebb and flow of life within you, a rhythm inherited from the very first creatures who developed a beating heart in the primordial sea. This connection is more than just poetry. It is a biological truth. The journey of your own life from a single cell to a fully formed being mirrors the great journey of life on Earth. You began your existence floating in a warm, watery and protected environment, a personal ocean safe within your mother. This deep, primal memory of floating in warm, safe water is perhaps why the sound of the waves is so universally comforting. It is a sound that speaks to the very oldest and deepest parts of our being, a reminder of a time of perfect safety, perfect peace, and perfect connection. As you breathe in and out, feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest. It is the same rhythm as the waves on the shore. In and out, the rise and the fall. Your breath is your own personal wave, connecting you to the great breath of the planet. Let your breath become slow and deep and easy. Let it become an ocean wave, washing away any remaining tension. With each breath out, you let go a little more. You sink a little deeper into your bed, just as water sinks into soft sand. You are a part of this great, natural, peaceful rhythm. You do not need to force it, you only need to allow it. So feel the ocean that is you. Feel the gentle tide of your own blood, the slow wave of your own breath, the deep, quiet stillness in the depths of your own mind. You are not separate from this story. You are its living continuation. The billions of years of ocean history, of life's patient struggle and quiet innovation, have all culminated in you, resting here, now. You are the legacy of the ancient seas. Let this profound and peaceful thought dissolve all boundaries between you and the world as you become one with the gentle, rhythmic and sleepy pulse of the ocean. Just as the tide recedes, so too does our story, and so too does your consciousness, drawing back from the shores of the waking world. Sleep is like a tide. It pulls you gently away from the busy coastline of the day, out into the deep, quiet and restorative waters of the night. It is a necessary and beautiful journey, a time for your body and mind to rest, to repair, and to dream. Do not resist this gentle pull. Let the tide of sleep take you. It knows the way. It is a safe and familiar current that has carried you into rest every night of your life. It is here to care for you now. The ocean teaches us that everything is a cycle. The tide goes out, but it always returns. The sun sets, but it always rises. Your journey into sleep tonight is part of this great, natural pattern. You are letting go of this day, this moment, in the quiet trust that a new day and a new moment will arrive with the morning light. The ocean does not worry about the next tide. It simply lets it happen. You too can let sleep come without worry, trusting in the natural rhythm of your own body, a rhythm that is as old and as reliable as the turning of the earth itself. Tomorrow, the tide will bring new things to the shore. New shells, new pieces of sea-smooth glass, new opportunities, and a new day. Your sleep tonight is a preparation for that new day. In the deep, quiet waters of your slumber, your mind will sort through the memories of the day, storing what is important and washing away what is not. Your body will mend and recharge. Sleep is not an end, but a renewal. It is the ocean's great gift of restoration, offered to you freely at the close of every day. Embrace it as the wonderful, healing and peaceful process that it is. So, as you feel the final pull of sleep's gentle tide, let go completely. There is nothing left to hold on to. The story is told. The day is done. The vast, peaceful ocean is holding you. It is rocking you gently in its ancient rhythmic cradle. It promises to watch over you through the night, its quiet sounds a constant soothing presence. And it promises to be there in the morning to greet the new sun with you, refreshed, renewed, and at peace. Drift now, on this promise, into the deep, calm, and healing waters of your slumber. And so we have reached the very end of our journey together. My voice will soon fade, leaving you with only the timeless sound of the ocean. Let it be the last sound you hear as you drift away. It is the sound of endings and beginnings, the sound of letting go and of renewal. It is the sound of deep time and the peaceful present moment, all blended into one perfect, simple and soothing rhythm. This final wave is a gentle goodbye. It washes over you, not to wake you, but to give you one last peaceful blessing, a final caress before you are fully asleep. The moon is high in the sky now, a silent guardian in the velvet darkness. The stars are bright, distant campfires in the vast night. The beach is empty, save for the gentle traces left by the receding water. The world is asleep, and it is time for you to join it. Let the story we have shared dissolve into pleasant dreams. Perhaps you will dream of floating in a warm, primordial sea. Perhaps you will dream of gliding silently in a Polynesian canoe, or of seeing the silent, beautiful dance of living light in the deep. Whatever you dream, may it be peaceful. There is nothing more to say. The ocean has told its tale. It has shared its peace, its vastness, and its ancient wisdom. Now it simply offers its eternal lullaby, a sound that will stay with you throughout the night, a constant reassuring whisper that you are safe, you are resting, and all is well. Feel your body becoming heavy, warm, and completely relaxed. Feel your mind becoming quiet, still, and empty. You are on the very edge of a deep and wonderful sleep. You are floating, drifting, sinking peacefully. Let this last wave of sound be the one that carries you over the edge. It is a wave of pure peace, washing over you, through you, and carrying you away into the deep, calm, healing ocean of sleep. Goodbye and good night. Rest well. Sleep deep. The ocean is with you. The waves are whispering. Sleep now. Sleep.